Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel, The Crumbs in the Philippines. Just as we get into the holiday season here, I started reflecting back just a little bit about my time here in the Philippines, and I realized back on August 14th I went over 3 years here, and I just wanted to give my thoughts on being here, any regrets that I might have about making the move and retiring here, changes that I've seen happen here in the Philippines, and just other things like that. But before I get started, I just want to give a big thank you to all of you out there that watch our videos and support us. We really appreciate it. We've gone over 4,200 subscribers, and it just continues to grow with each and every day. And as we grow the channel organically, please know that we greatly appreciate you guys watching our videos. And we really hope that in some way that these videos help some of you that might be a little or feel trepidation about retiring and moving to a foreign country, specifically the Philippines, and hope that that might ease your mind a little bit and make it easier for you to make that decision for yourself. Moving forward, we're just going to continue to make videos and try to help people as much as possible. Always feel free to contact us at our email address. I try to include that in the discussion box down below the video each time. Sometimes I forget, so if I put a video up that doesn't have our email address at the bottom, just look at a previous video and you'll be able to find that email address. We'd be glad to answer any questions that you might have about moving to the Philippines. And if you're specifically looking to relocate to the Lipa City area, we'd be more than happy to help you find housing here. Whether you want to live inside of a gated subdivision like we do, or you're more interested in living in another part of Lipa City, we can help you out with that. We've actually helped about 7 people find housing here in our subdivision, and as far as I know, all of those guys are pretty happy with what they got, and especially the price and the amenities that go with it, and the security as well. Okay, so back in August, 3 years ago August, I landed in Cebu City. It was still COVID, was still in full-fledged blowout at that time, so whenever I left the United States, I had to wear a face mask and a mask whenever I made that long flight from the West Coast in San Francisco over to Cebu. Had to take the swab test whenever we landed and get our temperature checked, and then we had to immediately go and check into a quarantine hotel for 10 days. And then at the end of the 10 days, the Department of Health, or I think it's called the Department of Health, they came and swab tested us at the hotel and gave us our results the next day. And if we were cleared, we could go on to our final destination, which I went back to the airport and flew over to Manila, where Jen met me. And then we just spent a couple of days there in the area with her family in Caloocan City, which is a little suburb of Manila. Although it's not really that small, it's rather large. There's a lot of people that live in Caloocan. But one of the things that I noticed right away was that I did not want to live in the Metro Manila area. Just too much congestion. The air was a little bit hard to breathe from all of the motor vehicles that were operated all the time in that area that has, I think, close to 20 million people, if you include the entire metro area. So Jen and I decided that we were going to go down to Lipa City, which I'd seen a video of on YouTube in the past, and it looked like a place that I would be interested in living due to the lower temperatures. It's a little bit more moderate in the fall months here for temperature, and that has held true since we've been here. My original plan was to go to Dumaguete, but whenever I landed, since COVID was in swing, travel between islands was strictly forbidden. So we kind of were limited to the island of Luzon. to find a place to live. And in hindsight, I'm kind of glad that happened, because I'm very happy living in Lipa City, and I don't have any regrets at all. I really like the subdivision. We ended up purchasing a home here on a rent-to-own basis. We met a really nice couple here that were getting ready to retire, and they wanted to move back to the province, and they gave us a nice rent-to-own contract that included no interest and just monthly installments until the price of the home was fulfilled, and then they'll sign the title over to us. And we're getting really close to that. We're well over the halfway point of our 5-year contract, and we increased the amount of our payments to shorten it even more, which was a bonus for us. So here in the near future, we'll be enjoying a cost of living that does not include the price of our housing, which really reduces our cost of living and increases our options of things that we can do. We can get out and do more traveling and make some farther trips and go out and meet one of my bucket list goals, which was to visit as many islands as possible here in the Philippines. Now, since I've been here, I've noticed quite a few changes in the Philippines. The COVID restrictions finally started easing off about 6 months to 8 months after I got here, and we finally went mask-free about a year later. But one of the biggest things that I've really noticed was all of the bureaucracy, the Department of Immigration, the NBI, the LTO, where you get your driver's license and register your vehicles. All of these things are pretty quickly moving towards digital. When I first got here, you had to fill everything out by hand on paper and fill out applications and do all this stuff. But now just about everything you can complete online, which has really made the process a lot easier, especially the immigration and some of those other things. And also, I noticed that whenever they had a presidential election after I got here, and with the change of government, of course, you see quite a change in a lot of things as well. Inflation has remained pretty constant here in the Philippines. The prices do go up year to year, but believe it or not, our cost of living adjustments in Social Security and retirement pay and all of those things have more than kept up with the inflation rate here in the Philippines. And also given the really nice exchange rates that we've enjoyed the 3 years I've been here, it's made our retirement pay really go a lot farther than it would have 4, 5, 6 years ago. So those are the big changes that I've really noticed here in the Philippines, other than the fact that I've gotten a lot more comfortable just getting around and going out and doing things on my own without Jen there to help me. I've learned a little bit of Tagalog. It's a very difficult language to learn, but I'm slowly picking it up, and I hope that before my time on Earth is done here, that I'm able to speak fluently in Tagalog. That is one of my goals. As far as changes go, one thing that I have noticed is that the prices at the resort areas and hotels and things like that away from Lipa City have actually gone up a little bit, probably 10%, since whenever the company opened back up for full-blown tourism. We saw quite an explosion in expats show up here after the restrictions were lifted on travel. And while Lipa it's not a big destination for expats, there does seem to be quite a large population here in the Lipa area. But since it's so big and there's a lot of people here, you don't really rub elbows with a lot of expats all the time, which I kind of appreciate. I like to spend time with Jen and her family, and the time that I'm not doing YouTube videos, I like to relax and take it easy and watch the highlights on YouTube for the NFL, the college football, and softball. I used to be a softball coach. I really enjoy that stuff. But as far as I can tell you guys, I don't have any regrets whatsoever about moving here. My planning that I did prior to coming here, it took about a year, was the process that it took for me to decide that I was going to move here until I actually made the move. I did a lot of research on YouTube. I watched a lot of the vloggers that were making YouTube videos, and some of those guys are still around today. But I learned a lot, and I did a lot of preparation. A couple of the things that I might do differently would be to send myself more bulk buying boxes so that I could get more of the products that now, in hindsight, I know that am going to need, and that you can only get in the United States. I would have sent myself more stuff through the bulk buying box option, because I did send 2 boxes here that had a lot of clothing items and toothpaste and sunscreen and toothbrushes and deodorant and things like that. But I really wish that I would have probably doubled what I sent myself. So that's just a word of advice that I would give to anybody thinking about coming over here, is if you can get an address to send something to in the Philippines, you know somebody, you have a girlfriend or a spouse where you can send boxes, or you know another expat that has an address here, send yourself as much stuff as you can cram in there, and because it's going to save you a lot of grief and money later on down the road. I had already got my phone taken care of. I made sure my phone was unlocked before I came. I opened my Charles Schwab account a few months before I came here and tested it out several times in the US using the ATMs. And one of the cool things about the Schwab account is that you don't have to use a branded ATM. It works in any ATM here in the Philippines. I know some people have posted videos online about having issues with Charles Schwab, but I personally have not had any issues at all. One time they asked me if I was living full-time in the Philippines, and so I got into an online chat with one of the agents from Charles Schwab and told him that I spent a couple of months a year at my daughter's house in the United States to establish a permanent residence, and that the rest of the time I spent in the Philippines. And he made a note in my record that I was just a partial resident of the Philippines, and I haven't had any issues since. That was 2 years ago, and I still use it to this day. So another thing that I'm really happy that I did was start doing these YouTube videos. I'm so glad that I decided to do that. I was very reluctant at first because it takes a lot of guts to put yourself out there for the world to see, that they see your everyday life and your flaws and everything are on full display there. And believe me, there are people out there that are just waiting to jump on every little mistake that you make when you make these videos, and they point out everything that you're doing wrong. And believe it or not, I've taken those things and used them in a constructive manner, and I take the criticism along with the praise and just try to make a better channel, make better videos, put out better information. And if there's ever any topics that you guys would like to see or hear about, or questions you might have about living in the Philippines or traveling here, requirements, immigration, the Department of Transportation, driver's licenses, transportation, buying vehicles, anything like that, just let us know in the comments, and we'll come back and revisit those topics, because the videos that we made back in the beginning are almost obsolete now. A lot of the things changed due to automation and procedures, and with the change in government, a lot of things are different now. As far as requirements for almost everything is a little bit different than it was when we first got here. Things were pretty simple when we first got here because of COVID. You didn't do a lot of things in person. Like, I'll just give you one example. When I went through the 13A visa process, we did not have to do an interview. Jen and I. We just had to do the paperwork and submit it and wait for it to come back approved. And I know now that there are no COVID restrictions when you do the 13A process. You have to fill out a little questionnaire, and then you have to go through an in-person interview at immigration, both you and your spouse. That's one of the things that we didn't have to do. So anyway, that just about does it for now. I know that's not a lot of information, but the bottom line is I really enjoyed living here. I don't regret the choice whatsoever. And given what I was facing back in the United States, I would still be working because I didn't earn enough in retirement to pay my bills in the United States. Even in a rural community in Missouri, I would have had to continue working until I was 70 in order to pay my bills. But moving to the Philippines allowed me the luxury of, I left when I was 59, approaching 60, started my Social Security at age 60, and have never looked back, and have been much happier and have felt so much less stress in my life. It's really hard to describe. I'm so glad I made that decision. And I don't miss it at all. I don't miss the work. I don't miss living in the United States. I don't miss the hassle. But anyway, guys, as always, we so much appreciate you. We hope you all stay happy. We hope you stay healthy. Enjoy your life. Be kind to one another. And let us know if there's anything we can do to help you out. Take care. We'll see you later.
'Cause we're the crumbs and you'll love us. Hit the like and subscribe now. Show some love, don't delay. Hit the like and subscribe now. Join the fun every day. Join the fun, don't delay.